Tonight on Newswatch, new developments in the Athens cyber fraud case, how much money the city has so far been able to recover. Plus,
some people are even going and filling up with gas a day or two early to get ahead of things.
Gas prices spike across the nation as a fear of global conflict with Iran continues to rise. And in sports, Ohio softball won their second straight series. Take a look at how it impacts the tight MAC race. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, I'm Joshua Herner. Welcome to Newswatch. Athens will receive over half the money it lost from a cyber fraud scheme, and the alleged perpetrators have been indicted for the scam. Athens officials emphasized how rare getting the money back is, and joining us with the story is reporter Charlie Ehlenfeld. Charlie?
Thanks, Josh. I'm outside Athens City Hall, where earlier today, officials announced an updates in the insurance and mediation process after the cyber fraud. The original fraud stole money intended for the new Athens fire station, and days after the fraud, the city filed a lawsuit which eventually identified two active duty Air Force members based out of Delaware who participated in a similar scheme out of Iowa. In response to the cyber fraud, Athens changed their cybersecurity policy, replacing aging software, adding multi-factor authentication for all staff, added additional free training from the FBI, and undertook internal changes within the auditor's office. The city is continuing to pursue more avenues for returning funds, including potential further restitution if a conviction occurs in the ongoing case in Iowa. Deputy Surface Safety Director, Andrew Chicky emphasized how vital it is for other municipalities to report and pursue crimes like this.
It is so helpful and so important to report that. I know that there's a level of embarrassment, a level of apprehension to reporting, even when it's a small sum. But what we've noticed through investigating our particular cases, how many potential connected issues could come up.
Last year in Ohio, over 150 municipalities experienced cyber theft, and globally, only 0.05% of places actually managed to prosecute these crimes. Reporting live in Athens, I'm Charlie Ehlenfeld.
Thanks, Charlie. We'll stay tuned for any updates on the investigation. And for a look at the weather, we'll send it over to forecaster Steve Nedley. Steve?
Yeah, Josh, we've had an absolutely beautiful day so far. We're 73 degrees and partly cloudy, so we've certainly warmed up from this weekend where we were in the 50s. And that's kind of going to be the case. We're going to slowly increase as this week goes on. Right now we're at 70 degrees, and that's pretty much uniform across southern Ohio, And then if we look at the radar, there's really not a lot going on. We've had some pop-up showers, but nothing really crazy. We've had to dodge a few raindrops, but other than that, we've had pretty clear skies, and that's thanks to a high-pressure system that's kind of moved into our region, and we'll set up shop over the next few days. Overnight tonight we'll be at 59 degrees, and so it's going to stay pretty warm because we're going to have some of those clouds sticking around, and that'll act as a blanket. So if you're heading out tonight, maybe just grab a sweatshirt or some sweatpants because it's going to stay pretty warm. And then if we look at tomorrow, a little bit of a heat wave kind of moves into our region, 80 degrees, but that possible chance of thunderstorms. We're not going to get the threat that we thought we may, but it's going to be warmer, 80 degrees, and only a low of 62. And that's just going to be what we're going to be dealing with, so stay tuned for my full forecast.
Thank you, Steve. Police have arrested one suspect after a drug bust in Athens. On Friday, the Athens County Drug Task Force and Athens Police Department searched 64 Franklin Avenue. They found suspected cocaine, a firearm, a large amount of money, and evidence consistent with drug trafficking. 22-year-old Granville Collins was taken into custody and charged with multiple counts of drug trafficking. Collins has been transported to the Southeastern Ohio Regional Jail. Protesters lined up outside the community center to speak out against the war in Iran as part of the National No Kings protest. Here in Athens, people lined up outside the Athens Community Center to make their voices heard. With signs, costumes, and songs, those protesting stood against issues such as the war in Iran and conflict with ICE. One protester says the war in Iran has brought more attention to issues with the Trump administration.
I believe that a lot of people are against this war, and so it's kind of making people realize that, this is not the first time that this has happened. This is not the first time that the U.S. has gotten involved in overseas affairs, especially in the Middle East. And so I think with everything going on, it's kind of bringing the bigger picture to a greater audience. It's starting to open people's eyes a lot.
The Athens No Kings protest was one of more than 3,000 across the country this weekend. The largest protest happened in D.C. Lawmakers remain at an impasse on the DHS funding fight. However, the Trump administration says TSA employees who have been working without pay for weeks will be getting paid in the next few days. Reed Binion reports.
There is a plan to get these TSA agents pay, hopefully by tomorrow, Tuesday.
Trump administration officials on Sunday saying TSA workers would receive paychecks in the next couple of days under the president's plan to unilaterally fund the agency. Border Czar Tom Homan welcoming the development.
So yeah, it's good news because these TSA officers are struggling, working very hard and not being paid while members of Congress down on vacation getting paid.
This comes after President Donald Trump's executive action Friday ordering that TSA workers be paid immediately. One former TSA administrator says the follow-through on this is critical.
And if you say they're going to get paid and they don't after 5 weeks of not getting paid, then that would be a serious blow to the already low morale.
A spokesperson for the American Federation of Government Employees, which represents TSA officers, said Sunday that some officers had started seeing their back pay being processed for payment, but only the 2 full paychecks missed in March, not the rest of the partial payment from late February. As of late Sunday night, the funds had not yet hit their bank accounts. It's not yet clear what the immediate impact of the restart in pay will be on long airport security lines.
My concern is that out of those 3,500 who have called out over the weekend, that some of those are simply holding out and because they may have another job lined up.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Coming up, fears of the conflict with Iran cause gas prices to spike across the nation. And it's been over 50 years since humans went to the moon, but 4 astronauts will make the journey again on Wednesday.
We've warmed up, but rain is on the way. Find out when it gets here next.
Every now and then, an essay continues to speak to people.
Henry David Thoreau wrote about the impact of industrialization on nature and society. He tried to live a simple and intentional existence.
I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately.
Thoreau says you can't even ask the deep questions if you don't stop to figure out what the deep questions are.
Tonight at 9 on WOUB.
Now streaming on the PBS app, the definitive collection from Emmy-winning scholar Henry Louis Gates Jr. From full seasons of Finding Your Roots.
These are your immigrant ancestors.
Oh my goodness.
To acclaimed documentaries.
Black Americans created a world behind the veil.
Discover the incredible history that connects us all. Stream the Henry Louis Gates Jr. collection now with Passport on the PBS app.
Can you feel the moment?
The American Revolution changed the world.
With a story unfolds.
Everybody had the sense of possibility worth fighting for.
What took place here still leaves us in awe.
We can work towards equality together.
Wow, this is the missing piece.
Incredible.
To confront these figures from ancient history is a great privilege.
Our history tells us who we are, where we came from.
And it's all connected.
Like links in a chain.
Like links in a chain, yeah.
All I can do is say thank you.
Wow, this is phenomenal.
I'm really grateful for this.
President Donald Trump's threats to Iran's energy infrastructure sent oil prices spiking today, and fears of further escalation are hitting Americans harder at the gas pumps to start the week. Karen Kafa has the latest.
The White House Monday downplaying fears of further escalation after President Donald Trump's threat to, quote, take the oil in Iran and strikes against Israel by Iran-backed Houthi rebels.
Talks are continuing and going well.
What is said publicly is, of course, much different than what's being communicated to us privately.
But fears of a longer conflict prompted another jump in global oil prices Monday.
It takes time for for this kind of a shock to play out into the market.
According to AAA, the average U.S. gas price edged up to $3.99 Monday, the highest since 2022. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said it's still too soon for the central bank to gauge how the conflict, now in its 5th week, will impact the overall U.S. economy and inflation.
We will eventually maybe face the question of what to do here. We're not really facing it yet because we don't know what the economic effects will be.
Meanwhile, Matt Schultz, chief consumer finance analyst for LendingTree, says their research shows households are already taking steps to protect their budgets.
Some people are even going and filling up with gas a day or two early to get ahead of things because they know that it's probably going to cost more in a few days.
Analysts at Macquarie Group said that Brent crude oil could climb as high as $200 per barrel if the war continues until the end of June. That would amount to a U.S. gasoline price of $7 per gallon. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
The Labor Department has unveiled a new plan that could change your 401k investments. The proposed rule would give retirement fund participants the option of investing in private equity and other alternatives like crypto and commodities. Although employers have always had the option to include such investments in their retirement funds, few have done so. Such investments are typically more complicated and expensive than publicly traded options and open employers up to potential litigation. Although the proposal makes it easier for employers to add alternative options, it does not require them to do so. The Supreme Court is hearing a case on birthright citizenship on Wednesday. President Donald Trump is trying to change it with an executive order. He doesn't want it to apply to babies born in the U.S. to undocumented immigrants. The 14th Amendment states, quote, persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States of the state wherein they reside. The Trump administration argues the jurisdiction part empowers Trump's executive order. Critics argue changing a birthright citizen would be logistically challenging. They say U.S. citizens might end up having to document their children's immigration status. All right, Steve, it's getting a little warmer outside. Can I finally put the pants away, or do we got to keep them out, getting some colder weather coming through?
You're in luck just for this week because we're going to be in the 70s and 80s all week. As for next week after the weekend, we might cool back down, but this week you can enjoy it.
Oh my God! So finally some warmer weather now, and later we're going to get that cooler temperatures coming back. When's it eventually going to finally be consistently warm now? Steve?
when I mean cooler, I mean like 60s. So you might be able to just keep the shorts out. But if we look right now at the nationwide map, it seems pretty much everywhere is pretty warm, and that's just because we have this high pressure system that's sitting off the East Coast that is feeding us a lot of warm air. But it's not going to last for long as we head into the next few days. Right now, looking specifically at southeastern Ohio, we're sitting about 70, 73 degrees, and that's going to continue to increase as we go into the rest of the work week. And taking a look, there's not really a lot of rain to help cool that down either. We've had some pop-up showers, but nothing really materializing. And then if we zoom out, not a lot is happening again because that high pressure system is sitting right over here, and that's just kind of going to keep these skies mostly clear. Some clouds are going to stick around, but not a lot of rain for us. And again, high pressure sitting right over there, and that's keeping this front that would be giving us some rain pushed higher up north and allowing us to stay pretty warm. But as we head into tomorrow morning, it's going to slowly start creeping down this low pressure system, and that's going to bring with it colder temperatures and rain. And as we look at tomorrow night, it's going to start impacting northwest Ohio, and it's going to start dropping those temperatures down. The next morning, Wednesday morning, is when we're really going to start to see those impacts. That cold front is going to plummet temperatures down. We're talking in northern Ohio, we're going to be about 40 degrees and widespread rain. But luckily for us, it's going to stall out and really kind of stay in middle half of Ohio and not provide us with a lot of rain like we were expecting to get. So we'll stay very warm. The northern part of Ohio is going to be very cold. So it's going to be a tale of two halves for sure. As for tonight, we don't drop much below 60 with those clouds sticking around. It's going to help keep a lot of that heat in. So if you have any plans tonight, you should be good to go. Tomorrow, the heat is really on. A high of 80 degrees and a low of 62, and we'll have those possible thunderstorm chances just because it's so warm that ground could heat up and just pop up some thunderstorms. And then if we look at the next 6 to 10 days, we're going to be a little bit above average. So that means average this time of year is about 60 degrees, so 65, 70 degrees. And then if we look at our, again, northwest friends, They're right at about average, so that's about, again, 55, 60 degrees for them. It'll be a little bit chillier. But this warm-up is just going to kind of springboard us into what feels a little bit more like spring weather, not really that winter weather that we were kind of dealing with a few weeks ago. We had that cold weekend, but now if we look at this week and the rest of this 7-day, we're going to slowly increase our temperatures and even a high of 84 on Thursday. And again, those rain chances are going to stick around, but again, that front is not going to get to us, so that widespread rain that we thought we were going to be dealing with is not going to get here. We're going to be dodging raindrops through all this heat, and then we fall off on Sunday and get back to 62 and 58 on Monday. So you really should enjoy it, get out and do anything within these raindrops, because it's going to be a great week before we cool off next week with a low of 37 on Monday. So look forward to this week.
Thank you, Steve. NASA's Artemis II mission is about to launch. It's been more than 50 years since NASA sent humans to the moon, but come Wednesday, 4 astronauts are set to journey around the moon once again. Maribel Gonzalez has more.
I put the knot in astronaut. I've never done anything. I've never done a space. I can't even moonwalk.
Ryan Gosling, or Ryland Grace in Project Hail Mary, is a science teacher tasked with saving the world by leaving it and traveling to outer space. The sci-fi film hit theaters on March 20th, just ahead of a highly anticipated real-life space mission, Artemis II.
The movie provided a catalyst for bringing people together who might not ordinarily think about science.
This week, 4 astronauts will step aboard a spacecraft for the first human moon mission in more than half a century.
For as long as it can.
This time making a 10-day voyage around the moon without landing on it.
Artemis II, in the days ahead, will send NASA and a CSA astronaut into the lunar environment, the first crewed step of the Artemis program to pick up where Gene, Harrison, and Ronald left off on Apollo 17.
Artemis II will take humans farther than they have ever traveled from Earth.
They're going to actually look at the dark side of the moon. They'll be there for 3 or 4 hours looking for places where eventually there might be landings on the moon.
One small step for what's to come for the future of space travel.
Do not go back to the moon just for the footprints and the flags. You must pick up where we left off more than a half century ago. Build the moon base, create an enduring presence.
I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
Spring cleaning is a way to refresh your space, remove dust, and get things tidy and organized. But experts say it can also give your mental health a boost. Minnie Gaither explains how a spring spruce up can also declutter your brain.
So long, winter. Spring has sprung. But if breaking out the vacuum for a new season refresh doesn't sound tempting, there's another reason to do it. It's good for your brain.
Instead of labeling cleaning as a chore, reframe it as an act of self-care.
Clinical psychologist Susan Alberts with Cleveland Clinic says having a tidy space can actually boost a person's mood. She says it's been shown to improve sleep, concentration, and energy levels while decreasing stress and anxiety.
Cleaning provides immediate, visible, and tangible results, which our brain loves. It likes to see evidence of success. This in turn releases dopamine into the body, the pleasure neurotransmitter.
But if your motivation is lacking, Albert says to start small. Try tidying your desk, which could also include digital decluttering, closing out emails, cleaning off your computer's home screen, and avoiding distractions by muting alerts until you're done. If you feel your cleaning momentum begin to shift, Albert says to move on to your bedroom.
Just cleaning your bedroom and making your bed has been shown in studies to improve your sleep by 19%.
Then she says to focus on high traffic areas, the most used spaces in your home.
This is going to help to reduce the stress and conflict in the family. When these high traffic areas are filled with clutter, they create stress for everyone.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Next in sports, the Ohio softball team won their second straight conference series by beating Central Michigan. Take a look at how they did it, what it means, and more next. Newswatch will return after the break, but until then, make sure to follow us on X, Facebook, and YouTube to keep up with all the latest news in Southeast Ohio.
Uncool the midwife.
Sir Cuthberts have called and they are short-staffed. I wondered if you might oblige.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. My cousin who came from Hungary. I always say, God sent her.
Why have you been talking to the Lady Emily? That clinic is run for the benefit of the rich.
Is there anything you could assign to me? I'm here to help.
No, I cannot go to the doctor. Why not?
Because I do not leave this house.
Sunday at 8 on WOUB.
On Masterpiece.
Now he knows about the children. Will he be able to forget them again?
Are we sure he's the father?
Why else would he be at her shop?
You trust her?
Completely.
We must protect June from all this.
Miss Heron, Mrs. Heron, my family.
This is not the match we were expecting.
Daring to follow his heart.
What could possibly go wrong?
The Forsytes on Masterpiece.
Sunday at 9 on WOUB.
WOUB is recognizing members of our Cornerstone Society. The Cornerstone Society is a group that wants to ensure the future of public media in our region. It includes people across our area who value news, entertainment, and cultural programming, as well as the educational services WOUB provides. Also included are graduates of Ohio University who took part in the WOUB Student Professional Development Program. Thanks to the Cornerstone Society for their generous support. To learn how you can be involved, email woub@woub.org.
I love it.
We're on the precipice of a great discovery.
I love it.
Welcome. Whoa, Nelly. Let's set this palace on fire.
I love it.
Welcome to the News Hour.
What does it mean politically?
Oh, fasten your seatbelt. I love it. I love it.
Delighted to hear it. You make a good team.
Welcome to sports. I'm Andrew Woods. There's plenty on the docket tonight, but first, over the weekend, the Ohio softball team won their second straight conference series by beating the Central Michigan Chippewas. Ohio started off the series by splitting a doubleheader. They beat Central Michigan 6-3 in the first game before falling to the Chippewas 5-3 in the second. However, in the rubber match, Ohio's bats came out in force early. The Bobcats scored 6 runs in the first inning on their way to a 12-7 victory. Ohio's power was on full display throughout the series. The Bobcats had 10 home runs. That was led by Brenna Farmer, who homered in each game of the series. In all, 6 different Bobcats homered during the series, but they didn't just hit for power. Belle Hummel had 6 hits, while Colleen Bear totaled 5. And those wins helped Ohio keep pace in an incredibly tight MAC race. Right now, Miami, Akron, and Toledo are all tied for first, and the Bobcats are 1 game behind. However, they can't afford to slip up. Ohio is tied with 4 other teams for 4th, and with only 6 teams making the MAC tournament, every game will be crucial in this incredibly close conference race. Ohio will have the chance to gain some ground this weekend as they go for their 3rd straight series win against Ball State. Although softball won their series, the Ohio baseball team wasn't as successful. Ball State swept the weekend over the Bobcats, and the Cardinals did so in dominant fashion. They won by 7 or more runs in each game, and as has been a theme throughout the year, Ohio's pitching staff struggled. The Bobcats allowed more than 10 runs in each of their games, and that struggle pushed their ERA up to a conference worst 10.52. Ohio will try to get some positive momentum on their side as they play Marshall on Tuesday before a home weekend series against Kent State. Heading to the track, the Ohio women's track and field team began their season over the weekend at the Raleigh Relays. In them, several Bobcats had strong performances, such as Ellie Greenwell. She set the school record in the 1,500-meter race, as well as a personal best in the 800. And in total, 16 Bobcats set personal bests. After that solid showing, Ohio will come home next weekend for the annual Cherry Blossom Invitational. Moving to Major League Baseball, after a series win over the Boston Red Sox, the Cincinnati Reds begin their series with the Pittsburgh Pirates tonight. Yesterday, all it took was one big play for the Reds to win the series. In the bottom of the 6th, Eugenio Suarez hit a 440-foot homer to give the Reds a 3-2 lead, and that was all they needed as they beat the Red Sox 3-2 to take the series. Tonight, the Reds will try to gain even more momentum by defeating their division rivals, the Pittsburgh Pirates. A pair of youngsters takes the mound tonight. Chase Burns starts for the Reds, while Braxton Ashcraft starts for the Buccos. And both teams also have players on early tears. The Pirates' Brandon Lau hit 3 homers against the New York Mets, while Stal Stewart had 7 hits against the Red Sox. For the latest on Ohio sports, follow Bobcat Sports Showcase on Facebook, X, and Instagram, as well as WOUB on YouTube. That's all for sports. Josh, back to you.
Well, thank you, Andrew. Still ahead, the NCAA tournament has narrowed down to just 4 teams. Hear more about which teams are still standing when Newswatch returns.
Coming up next.
The mission of Operation Epic Fury is laser focused.
We will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon.
Months after declaring Iran's nuclear program obliterated,
A joint attack on Iran by the United States and Israel.
with the regime under siege again, an expanded investigation into the strikes on Iran.
What's your message to the Trump administration if there are more attacks?
Tuesday at 10 on WOUB.
Stop skimming.
Stop scrolling.
Just listen.
100 years ago today, they walked away from the
All you need
In one place.
every afternoon.
Los Angeles, I fell in love with pinball 6 or 7 years ago.
All things considered from NPR.
The Ohio Art Corridor is a destination experience. We would like this to be the largest outdoor art gallery in the world.
Portsmouth was able to field an incredible team for a brief moment in the sun that almost was sweet enough to get them a national championship.
We got land granted to us in Ohio. Great opportunity. Let's go. How would you know you got here? It was just sheer determination and patience and just hard, back-breaking work.
The bridge was acclaimed at the time of being an engineering marvel.
Progress is all about taking the lessons of the past and doing better. So I would hope that now that we know better, we will do better.
The Final Four of the college men's basketball tournament is now set. On Sunday, #1 seeded Michigan knocked off Tennessee 95-62. The Wolverines will now face another #1 seed, the Arizona Wildcats. In the other game on Sunday, the University of Connecticut upset Duke 73-72 on a Braylon Mullins desperation three-pointer with 0.4 of a second left on the clock. UConn will now face #3 seeded Illinois. The Final Four games will take place in Indianapolis, Indiana on Saturday, as the championship game will be on Monday, April 6th. Now, guys, I know it's popular to pick a bracket. Did you two pick them, and who do you got winning?
Well, I picked Arizona and Michigan to make the Final Four, and I sent Arizona all the way, and I hope I'm right.
Okay, I got you, Andrew. How about you, Steve?
I had everyone except for Illinois, so now I just got to hope they go all the way.
So you had 3 of the 4 Final Four teams.
I did, and then that Iowa game just didn't go my way. I was really happy about the UConn shot, though.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
That was insane. I had Michigan winning it all, but I tell you what, I had Duke to the Final Four. I had them get in the championship, but man, that was a heck of a shot.
Well, if we take a look at weather, we're going to have a pretty nice night tonight, partly cloudy skies, so it's going to be a nice night for an evening walk. An overnight low of 59, and if we take a look at the rest of the week, we're slowly going to keep warming up. We're going to have to dodge a few raindrops, but those overnight lows don't go back below 60 until about Saturday. We're going to be a high of 77 on Wednesday, a high of 84 on Thursday with just a little bit of chance of rain. So Thursday looks like your day to go out and enjoy the heat. Friday, again, much of the same. Got to dodge those raindrops. And then Saturday to Sunday is where we start to see a little bit of a change. 82 to 62. We're going to see a cold front start to move its way into our region. That'll give us showers, and then we'll start to cool back off as we head into the work week next week.
Yeah, so some warmer temperatures, but rain on the way. We'll see how it turns out. Thanks, Steve. That's going to do it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Andrew Woods and Steve Nedlick, I'm Joshua Herner. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. Have a great night.